So, I used to be married to Judy, 36 female, and we have a daughter, Scarlett, young teen, together. Fake names. Judy never wanted kids, but I did, and I assume she did too. We had her, and Judy completely changed. She wasn't caring with Scarlett, they didn't bond, and she blamed Scarlett for our losing our independence. About a year after, we divorced, and she gave me everything. It hurt me that she didn't even want to see Scarlett once a year. She moved to Seattle months after, started running a business and got really fit. Her cousin told me she even got laser surgery to remove her stretch marks. Since then, Judy has moved to LA and divides her time between there, London, Mumbai and New York City. She's become a fairly famous influencer and socialite. I check her Instagram every now and then, and she's been at parties with celebrities worldwide and truly seems happy. To her credit, every time her financial situation changed, she would come back and get our child support agreement changed to give more to Scarlett. Every time she'd come, she would spend time with Scarlett. She even kept it the same, even though my new wife makes a lot more money than both of us and we don't need it now. About 3 years ago, she started calling more to talk to Scarlett. She would also come over more, and every spring break she comes for those 2 weeks. She phones every night unless she's in London, Mumbai or New York City, in which case she just sends a text. On New Year's, she was at some celebrity's party but still took the time to phone. Now, I'm not saying that this makes up for anything, but she has been a presence in Scarlett's life. Well, we just found out that Judy's grandfather is very ill, and he's going to pass away within a month, maybe early March at best. So, she's going to India for spring break for his funeral, and has requested to take Scarlett with her. I'm fine with that, my wife is fine with that. However, Scarlett got really upset about spending 2 weeks in India. I pointed out her mum would take her to all the nice places, she'll get to see great things and meet that part of her family, but she said that it's not fair, so I pointed out at the very least she can get whatever she wants out of her mum in those 2 weeks. My wife overheard and said I was an idiot for telling Scarlett that it's alright for her to use her mum for cash since she's barely been in her life. I pointed out I didn't say that, but we argued, and since then I realised what I said kind of did amount to that. Was I the idiot? Edit. Judy never told me that she didn't want kids, she allowed me to believe she did. If I knew she didn't, we would never have gotten married. So, your message to your daughter was, it's good to let other people do things with you that make you uncomfortable as long as they pay you. Great parenting. No way that message could go wrong. You are the idiot, OP. If Scarlett doesn't want to go with someone she barely knows, don't make her go. Why would you push her on that? And advocating for taking advantage of her mother is crappy. You're not listening to your daughter. She doesn't seem to want to go and you haven't gotten her side of the story. It could be something minor, just nervous about international travel, but it also might be something she really doesn't want to do. Maybe she feels like her mother wants to use her for influencer purposes. Talk to your daughter. Give her a chance to really talk through how she feels and respect her decision. Disagree, not the idiot. A lot of the people here have no grasp on reality. It's completely normal for children to be wary about travelling to foreign countries, and there's nothing wrong with trying to convince her that it could be a great experience for her and an opportunity to meet her family. I mean, your job as a parent is sometimes to make children do things they don't want to do in their own best interest. It's why kids eat vegetables and don't live off a diet of pizza and Coke. In regards to the comment about getting whatever she wants out of her mom, it may have been distasteful, but it doesn't make you an idiot. It sounds like you were just trying to negotiate with your daughter to give her reasons to want to go. I get it. Honestly, you managed to land not 1 but 2 decent women. I cannot for the life of me understand how. How is abandoning your child a decent woman? Nothing decent about a woman or man who walks away from actively parenting their own child, financial support or not. If she knew she didn't want a kid, she shouldn't have had a kid, and then abandon her child. No woman who abandons her child is a decent woman. I can't even believe there is a world where you think you aren't the idiot. My 56 male youngest son Tanner, 19, as far as I knew was gay. He'd only ever talked to his older brothers and me about crushes on boys as early as middle school. He only had boyfriends throughout middle and high school, and his first relationship in college was with a guy. Over the weekend, Tanner came home with a girl, Natasha, 20. He introduced her as his girlfriend, Natasha, and we were a little confused. We just kinda went with it. I just thought he meant girlfriend in a friendly way. Though, in hindsight, Tanner's never been really feminine, so I just kinda chalked it up to him discovering himself more at college. At dinner, Saturday night, I asked about how his apparent ex Corbin was doing, and if they'd moved in yet. not realizing yet they clearly broke up. My other boys apparently got it already and started sniggering, and Natasha looked confused while Tanner got mad. I finally noticed Tanner getting upset and asked what was wrong, and he yelled at me about how he introduced Natasha as his girlfriend when they got there, and I had an oh crap moment. I tried talking to him Sunday before they left, and I tried to explain that I hadn't realized, and he got mad and told me again that he had literally introduced her as his girlfriend. I told him I thought he was gay, and he got mad and said that he was bi and never explicitly said he only liked guys. Am I the idiot? Ha ha ha, like come on, even if rainbows are shining out your butt and you've got your PhD in gay, your previously only interested in boys' son brings home a girlfriend with no further commentary, what do you do? Is it heteronormative to assume he means it in the romantic sense or biphobic to assume he doesn't? Gay stuff is complicated, and the only way to get through it is with a lot of love, which Dad has in confused spades. It'll take one conversation and be completely fine. Go forth, pride father, and to openly communicate with your son. Agree, this is seriously going to be hilarious down the road. You're not the idiot, it was a misunderstanding, not something you did to be malicious. Your son can't expect you to know what he doesn't tell you, and you can only base your knowledge on the things you know. So I suggest talking to him about the situation and making sure he knows that you didn't mean to upset him or anything, you were just going with what you knew. Boy, I would love to have seen the look on OP's face when it clicked. Girlfriend can sometimes, especially by gay men, be used as a term for friend. I hope this girlfriend didn't find out about your son's, her new boyfriend's orientation at this time. Not that it matters to most people, but some people might be shocked to find out their partner isn't straight. This is just a misunderstanding. Talk to your son and Natasha when things cool down. I, 27 female, was invited to my roommate Nina's 25 female family New Year's Eve party. Her family's Russian and they had a huge spread and everyone was super welcoming and friendly. Our other roommates, Tina and Alex, were also invited. Nina's grandmother kept offering me food and I didn't want to be rude and the food was delicious. Tina and Alex were side-eyeing me every time I accepted another portion, but Nina's family kept offering me more food. When it was time for dessert, Nina's grandmother brought out this big layered crepe cake, some traditional Russian dish, and served it to everyone. She seemed so happy I liked the food and told me to have as much cake as I wanted. It was so good, I ate 3 slices and put 3 more slices in a Tupperware to take home. There was 1 slice of cake left. Nina's grandmother offered it around and no one wanted it, so I took it. I thought everything was fine and I had a great time, but right as we were leaving, I heard Nina complaining to someone that her family looked forward to the leftover cake. Then, in the car on the way back home, Tina and Alex commented on how much I ate, and I got mad at them for shaming me because it was none of their business, and everyone was offering me food. Then Tina saw the cake in my bag and started yelling at me and saying how rude and embarrassing I was and that I ate too much. And we got into a huge argument because I felt like she was criticising my body and food shaming me. Now Tina and Alex aren't talking to me, and Nina says I should have at least shared the cake with her. I don't see what the issue is. I mean, they offered me the food and all the portions. I was just being polite and enjoying myself. I didn't deserve to get food shamed by them, but I do feel bad since Nina said she was looking forward to cake leftovers. You are the idiot big time for taking 7 pieces when others were eating 2, but you are especially for not leaving your Tupperware 3 pieces behind after you heard Nina wishing she had leftover cake. Even if you didn't react fast enough to think of that, why on earth didn't you share with your roommate who invited you to her grandmother's house in the first place? Offering guests food is politeness, just as taking only a reasonable portion is politeness. Right? Like, there's definitely a huge thing in Russian culture where feeding your guests is equated to hospitality as a whole. Eating the food that Nina's grandma kept offering, totally fine. Eating 3 slices of cake, bit excessive seeing as dessert is more limited. Most cakes are only cut into about 12 pieces. But taking 4 more slices home with you? Jesus, hope he could have offered some to Nina when they heard her complain or to roommates when they said something. That's not a lack of self-awareness. That's greed. But they were food shaming me. Dude, you ate the entire cake. No, you didn't eat it. You ate half, then took the other half home. No one was food shaming you, whatever that means. They were calling you out for being incredibly greedy. There's nothing wrong with eating a lot of food, but you must be conscious of how much there is for everyone else. My sister is 19 years old and our relationship is complicated. She came to me not too long ago and asked me why I'd moved away and didn't really come home again. She told me how she felt like she lost me, but that she also lost our brothers, and that she felt like the odd one out, like she wasn't our real sibling, and she wanted to know why this happened. I gave her a vague answer at first, but she repeatedly pushed, so I told her. Background. My sister was 3 and I was 12 when our mom died. Our brothers were 7, 8 and 10. After Mom died, I became like a second mom figure to her and babysat her a lot. My brothers were all in school and extracurriculars, so they didn't need as much babysitting as she did. We were all very close though. My relationship with my sister was a little different. When I was 15, my dad remarried and it was very hard on me. My sister bonded with her immediately, which made it harder. Dad and his wife were expecting a baby within a year of their marriage too, which added to that toughness for me. Dad and I had a bad relationship with all of this going on. We first fought after he sat my brothers and me down and asked us to consider letting his wife adopt us. I was angry that he would ever ask that. He was angry at my reaction as well as my immediate refusal. Then it was over my half-sibling and my lack of interest in them. I didn't babysit willingly or eagerly as I did with my sister. I made it clear I didn't want to babysit the baby. I also didn't spend the same amount of time with them as I did with my brothers. I rushed through high school and worked my butt off so I could leave as soon as possible, which I did. After I moved out for college, I went to another state and didn't return to them anymore. I saw my brothers, which my dad allowed, but he was not okay with me seeing my sister and kept her back. My brothers all moved out once they were at the age where they could and all moved to be closer to me. 2 of them lived with me for a while at first. As we spoke, my sister told me how it ruined everything because the boys followed me, and then she and her mom, Dad's wife, she calls her mom, ended up having a strange relationship because she always compared her to me and how I did things. I was honest about my feelings and reason for moving so far away. Then she started to get angry and told me it was a crappy reason and asked how I could destroy her chances of the family unit she wanted because, clearly, that would never happen. Then she told me I shouldn't have dumped all that on her. Then it came back to me leaving and how she missed me and hated that we weren't close. She told me it was too much for her to handle, her feelings were a mess, and it was all my fault because I dumped everything on her. She did ask, but I feel bad. I love my sister and I hate seeing what the truth has done to her, and even to us because there's anger there now. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, she is way older than you were when you were parentified. She, a young adult, couldn't handle the truth about your childhood experience. Her emotions are not your responsibility. She's also old enough not to ask questions if she expects people to coddle her with their honesty. You're both so young still and you had to grow up way too fast. Your sister wants you to mother her and smooth it all over, which is impossible. Families are messy, and there will always be wrinkles in relationships. Not your fault, but your sister needs to accept that you handled it the best you could, then and now. Time for her to start doing the same. Agree, that's not on you, nor is the fact that your dad actively stopped you from seeing her. I bet he never told her that. Sadly, your sister is hurting, but I think her blame is grossly misplaced. She should be looking to the adults in the situation back then because I think it sounds like they handled your mum's death and the creation of a new family unit very poorly. I hope you continue to heal and that you and your sister can mend your relationship. My brother, 23, was dumb and invested much of his savings in crypto. He bought at the peak, sold at the bottom, and lost a lot of money. He's been depressed and anxious about this and beating himself up over it. My dad, 48, is ironically a financial advisor and found out today when my brother admitted it. He told my brother and me not to invest in crypto when we joked about Dogecoin last year, and he told us millions of times to diversify. Well, my brother didn't listen to any of that, and my dad, when he found out, started being a total idiot to my brother, in my opinion. Saying things like, "Tell me you're joking. You're joking, right? Why on earth would you do such a dumb thing? I told you millions of times last year not to buy crypto. You should only be buying diversified mutual index funds. You made these choices, and now you're learning your expensive lesson." Things that are not helpful and not serving any other purpose other than to fill my dad's ego and make my brother feel even worse. Like seriously, why even say these things? I, 22 female, told my dad to shut up since he wasn't adding anything to the conversation. By the way, my brother at this point was near tears. My dad got mad at me and maybe I went overboard. I was very upset on my brother's behalf. I screamed at my dad that this is precisely why my brother and I never confided in him about anything important, and we went to our mom. They're divorced instead since my mom has empathy. He yelled back that he did have empathy. I said if he did, then I wouldn't be so excited to remove him from my life when I'm older and not be financially dependent on him. Now we're not speaking. He didn't even apologize to my brother either. My brother left and is probably still depressed. I feel bad now for making my dad so upset, but also I feel like he reacted so badly to my brother for no reason. But now I feel guilty. I also currently live with him. Am I the idiot for screaming at him for what he said to my brother? You are the idiot and you should move out immediately and support your damn self if you want to treat your father that way. You haven't earned the right to lecture your dad about anything since you're still financially dependent on him at 22. He doesn't owe him an apology. You, on the other hand, owe your dad one. I imagine your brother is also financially dependent on your dad to some extent, judging by his investment acumen, which enabled him to save money. Bro's probably depressed about losing his money and finding out he's not the savvy crypto trader and investor he thought he was. Everyone's the idiot. You shouldn't have yelled at Dad. He shouldn't have poured quite that much salt on your brother's wounds. Maybe half that much. By the way, empathy isn't the only important quality in a parent. One who will teach you not to drive off cliffs is also important. Did your brother vaporizing his financial stability mean Dad has to help bail him out? I get why he's mad. I agree with everyone's the idiot, but for a different reason. This extreme "I can't wait to cut you out of my life" reaction doesn't come out of nowhere, and it doesn't come from a single incident. This has been brewing, likely for 15 or 20 years. OP is the idiot for this incident, but the father is the idiot a lot of other times to push it to this point.